Hello and welcome back. This is ProTaleDev back with another update video. It's going to be quite a short video. Basically, I just want to talk about what's going on, kind of why I've taken a break and all that, and what's coming up. So straight away you can see that I'm on Dungeon Architect, but I'm actually on the console version, the Xbox version. I've been working on this version since the start of February. And basically, if you don't know, I talked about it in my previous video in the Christmas Commandeer, and I also talked about it in the recap of last year. So basically what happened is I took a little bit of a break in January, and then I started working on my website, getting it all updated back towards basically all the projects on there, because there was a few projects missing, and I also tidied up a lot of the information and made it a little bit nicer without changing too much of the design wise, but basically just updated it all the way up to this point. With all the knowledge of all the things I've worked on. Once that was done, I started working again on this Xbox version, the console version of the game Dungeon Architect. I wanted that to get on console. I've been having some issues with it, however for the most part it's working okay, but there's no way I can put an exact date of when it could be released, because again there have been some issues in the past Turtle Trial trying to get that onto console. So I imagine there's going to be some difficulties with getting this game on console as well. Now immediately the main changes for the console are, in terms of functionality and things, they're all going to basically work the same way. The only difference is the actual controls. Now I'm going to quickly show what it looks like. I'm not going to use a controller right now. I'm just going to show what it looks like. As you can see, it looks pretty different. The UI is the main thing when it comes to console versions that has to be changed. Controls with a controller, as well as how they work with the game itself. And as you can see, the UI is also a little bit bigger for screens. It's a little bit more nicer. It's basically on consoles you usually have a bigger UI than you do on PC. And as you can see, we got the controls at the top left, which are going to be interactable with the left bumper. On the right, it's going to be the same with the changing and opening and closing the objectives. You can see on the left, we've also got shop when you press X to open that quickly, as well as a menu when you press start. On the right side, we have the details selection box that comes up whenever you select a adventurer or a building. The main thing is that the time controls, the speed controls, and the flipping of material will be controlled using the D-pad, as opposed to being on the bar, because obviously it's no need to click a button. So now, yeah, it's going to be controlled with the D-pad. And then finally we have the dialog box right there, which will be controlled using what is used to be called the back button. It's now the minimize button. Now we do also have the right trigger and left trigger. Left trigger is going to be to destroy objects, and right trigger is going to be to place objects. These are objects that you've selected in the shop, and that is most of the basic controls. Moving on to the next thing, we have to talk about my website. As I said, minor changes here and there, but it's all been updated to the specific projects. You can click on them and then go into them, like for example Christmas Commandeer. A ton of information there of my progress and how I built it, as well as a couple of videos. And you got the same thing for the other projects as well. So if I just go to all projects right here, you'll also see all of my projects have been updated as well, with more information, including some new additions to the very basic to the early university days. I added these two games as well, which I worked on, which is the Racing Bikes and One Shot Battle, because they were games I made but I didn't include them last time. That's because of how simplistic they were, but I still felt that they were necessary because they were a big part of my development. So yeah, we've got all these projects, and hopefully this will continue expanding. We've also got the YouTube page, which has been updated slightly, a little bit more easy to use. And then of course on the home screen right down here on highlights, we've got the free highlight videos from the last couple of years, as well as more information on just general development and career wise for me as well. So more information about me. Next thing I want to talk about is the games right here have been updated slightly so that some of them are working. Dungeon Farm Tycoon isn't working really, but because it was a prototype to Dungeon Architect, I don't plan on updating it now. But a couple of these have been updated to be a little bit nicer, a little bit better, and some of their pages are a little bit smarter. And moving on from that, I actually plan on joining a couple of game jams. Now at the moment it's the 21st, so the plan is that towards the end of February, which is pretty much towards the end of February now, or the start of March, I plan on doing a game jam. Probably a short game jam, maybe 2-day game jam, just to create something and to start building up those games again. Last year we only made 2 games, and while there was a couple of other games that I've mentioned that didn't make it in the past, essentially those were the only 2 games that were actually playable and usable and worth showing. And this year I plan on adding a couple more games to that. Hopefully, even though they may be made in smaller time as opposed to 7 days or whatever, I'm hoping to make smaller games this time, but a couple more. The final thing is the demo. So I've actually been looking at, I mentioned it in the previous video that I plan to look at Unreal Engine 5. I've actually been interacting with the demos. Now the demos are essentially, there's different kinds of ones to interact with, so things like physics, lighting, stuff like that. But this is a trailer that was released on the Unreal Engine YouTube page. I thought I would just show you this video because this video does demonstrate most of the new lighting effects and the ray tracing and things. So as you can see the quality of the 4K and 8K resolutions and how lighting interacts with it. The big thing is lighting, how lighting's being treated in these games and how shading is being treated, different things like that. However, I think the big thing to mention is that it's going to be very difficult to utilize this in an effective and creative way with very limited amount of funds or money. However, it's going to cost a lot of money to really utilize ray tracing and this kind of quality on assets and things, at least what I've found so far. However, it is way better, water reflection is way better in general, and I think that's worth a lot. Especially for bigger companies, but as a single developer, the chances are I'm not going to use this very much because it's just very, very intensive, and without any kind of funds to really use, this is just too expensive. Okay, that was everything I wanted to cover. Now, quick mention to go and check out Dungeon Architect now that it's out. This has been ProTaleDev, and I will see you next time.